And here at the budget field test in Tucson, Arizona, oh.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Levy, and by now you've probably seen a whole bunch of review videos from our Value Bike field test here in Tucson, Arizona. Now the truth is that we're usually riding some pretty expensive bikes, but oftentimes those things, they don't give us much to moan about. It's a different story this time around though. Here we have full suspension bikes up to $3,500 and hardtails topping out at $2,100. And as you'd expect, there's a whole lot more to talk about. And for this video, we're going to talk about some of the components that impressed us.
Let's start at the front of the bike while we're talking about products that impressed us the most. Right here, we've got the Canyon Spectral 125. This has the Fox 36 with the Rhythm series and the grip damper. We also had the YT Izzo. That was a Performance series fork. Basically, the good thing about these forks, they're easy to adjust, very smooth off the top. The adjustments are all effective and they just work. And that's something you don't find really on all of the bikes in this price level. Below the $3,000 mark, some of those forks just weren't up to par for someone that's gonna wanna ride their bike often, more than once in a while. It's nice to have a fork that's not gonna hold you back at this price point. We have basic adjustments, include low speed compression here, rebound at the bottom, air pressure. They're simple, but they do work. And the actual feel of the fork out on the trail is really close to those top level forks with more adjustments. And say you did buy this bike a little further down the road, you wanted all those adjustments, you can put in Fox's higher end Grip 2 damper and get that increased performance. Although I'd say that increase in performance isn't as great as you might think. So you can just stick with this fork, ride this bike as long as you want, and be totally happy. We also need to shout out the DVO Diamond. That one is found on the Fazari, and that's another high-end fork, offers a lot of adjustments, and it's not something you would typically expect to see at a bike that retails for $3,000. So out of all 9 bikes that we had here, the grip damper equipped Fox forks and that DVO Diamond, those are the standouts.
My name is Mike Levy, and I'm here of my own free will. Smile at camera. I would like to tell you about our Beta MTB membership. For just $24 a year, or 7 cents a day, you get access to all of our field test videos in a reassuring tone. The field test videos will still drop daily on YouTube for free, but if you do want to support us, please consider subscribing. Please.
Now we're going to move on to drivetrains, where we saw some of the biggest compromises, but also some of the best small wins. When we're talking about shifting, we're talking about not only longevity, but also shift performance and ergonomics. And when it comes to all those things, we saw Shimano's Dior and SLX group sets take the win. Now, as we've gone over in some previous videos, the bikes that had Shimano Dior and SLX parts have shifted consistently better throughout these couple of weeks than the ones with SRAM, SX, and NX parts, even at the same price points, which are about 300 or 400 USD respectively. The next thing we're talking about when it comes to Shimano's Dior and SLX drivetrains is that those drivetrains are what Shimano calls the best in trickle-down technology, meaning that they use essentially the same designs as Shimano's upper-level XT and XTR drivetrains. If you were to swap out parts later on, it would be much easier with a Shimano design using SLX 12-speed or Dior 12-speed than it would be if you were using the comparable SRAM, SX, or NX drivetrains. The SRAM ones do use a different free hub design, so if you were to swap out SX or NX for GX, Eagle, or above, you'd have to get a new XT driver to go along with it.
Now it's time to talk about brakes, and as I discovered on the Kona with its Alhonga stoppers, you're gonna have a hard time going fast if you can't slow down. But we're gonna keep this positive, and in that regard, there was one standout brake set that impressed us all. It's Shimano's MT500 stoppers that you could find on Diamondback's Sinker or Salsa's Timberjack XT29. You could pick up a set of 2-piston MT500s for around $100 an end. And while they're not full of features, they don't have adjustable bite point, but neither do any of Shimano's brakes, and they do require an Allen key to adjust reach, the lever feel is absolutely great, and they're very firm on the trail.
So we've talked a lot about the bigger stuff, but why don't we just get down to some of the nitty-gritty little detail items that we liked. First up is the specialized bridge saddle. I mean, saddles are really subjective. They're, varies from person to person, but every tester here at Value Field Test really liked the bridge. It's a pretty inexpensive seat at $60. And it comes in 143 and 155 widths. Another really nitpicky thing, is grips, right? A lot of brands just spec like a cheap house brand grip, and it's a really good way for them to pinch pennies. But it's nice to see like a really popular grip being spec'd on some of these bikes. Two of the bikes here, actually, the YT Izzo and the Commencal Meta, came with the ODI Elite Motion Pro grip, which is kind of a fan favorite. Everybody loves this grip. It's one of the most popular grips on the market. It just has a really nice clean diamond pattern on it that everybody just seems to get along with. And it's a $30 grip. Like, it's a really nice high-end grip that's a lot better than the cheap house brand grips that come on a lot of bikes. Now check out this little detail. It's SRAM's universal derailleur hanger. This detail might not seem very huge, but it really is. SRAM is trying to solve the problem of there just being a million different hangers for a million different bikes. And soon you'll just be able to walk into a shop and you'll be able to get a universal derailleur hanger for your bike. Here at the Value Field Test, we had 4 different bikes that actually have the same universal derailleur hanger. It's actually really cool to see this type of future-proofing happening on these value bikes. It's really nice to see longer travel dropper posts making it onto these budget bikes. And the Trans X dropper post was by far the favorite here in Tucson. It's just super reliable. It didn't cause us any trouble. And it's a really nice, affordable post.
Now, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but your tires, well, they're the only thing touching the ground. Unless you eat in which case you'll be touching the ground too, and possibly because your tires suck. Now, that's not the case with this Specialized. It has a Butcher and a Purgatory combo, and we were all super impressed with them at this value bike field trip. Better yet, you could pick them up for around $60 to $70, which is less expensive than many other options on the market that don't even work as well.
So we've been talking about all the different parts that were our favorites here at the Value Field Test, but say we ended up somehow with a pile of these components, what frame would we put it on? Well, in this case, that honor is gonna go to the Commencal Meta HT AM. There's one main reason. It's one of the only frames you can actually just purchase on its own without any parts hanging off it. That goes for $650. It's also a really nicely done frame. If you look at it, it's a hardtail, it's basic, the lines are clean, comes with really good chain slap protection, it's got dropper post routing, internal routing for your brakes and your derailleur, and just kind of epitomizes what you'd be looking for in a good, reasonably priced hardtail frame that's worth hanging nicer parts on it if you want as time goes on.
There you guys go. Those are our standout component picks from our value bike field test here in Tucson, Arizona. We picked our favorite tires, drivetrains, brakes, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Stay tuned for more videos from our value bike field test. As for me, there's about 2 liters of horchata calling my name.